Thank you. I served in the legislature from 1997 to 2004. Looking at the audience, there are new members that I didn't get the pleasure of serving with, and there are some older members that I did get the pleasure of serving with. I see Ms. Mason, Mr. Nelson in the back. I've got to tell you that within a short period of time, relatively short, 10 years, the political atmosphere has changed dramatically. I mean, day and night. The people that I used to serve with were, at the time we considered very conservative, but they were very rational. And it was a time at which you could discuss issues on the floor of the House and in the Senate, and the strength of your argument would determine whether or not you got your amendment on, or whether or not you got your bill passed. I've got a stack of photo, signature bill signing pictures with me and Governor Symington and Governor Hall. There was much more bipartisanship at the time. Now, it wasn't automatic and it wasn't instant. You really had to work hard, and if you were in the minority, in order to get your things on the table. It was not easy. It was a heck of a fight. But at least there was a fighting chance to do so. That's no longer the case. And part of the biggest reason is I gotta say, the extremism within politics today is just at an all-time high. I was there one term before Mr. Pierce got to the House. He was elected to the House. And I can tell you from the very beginning, Russell started running his legislation, just like he does now, very beginning. We didn't have to pay too much attention to it because, quite honestly, within the Republican ranks, they considered him to be very extreme and his bills to be very extreme and damaging. And so they would take care of Russell's legislation in-house. They would take care of it within the caucus. They would make sure that it didn't see the light of day. In the rare event that it actually got to the floor, we would team up together and we would kill it. And that's why he started going to the ballot, because he couldn't get anything past the legislature. I've got to say that looking at the situation now, it is kind of a perfect storm. It didn't just happen overnight. You've got the hijack, I gotta say it, the hijacking of the Republican Party. It really is. You've got people on the right who have systematically and methodically chipped away and chipped away and chipped away and chipped away. They have won seats that used to be held by conservative, pro-business, rational people. And where you used to have a discussion that was honest and fact-based, you don't have that anymore. You have the most outrageous statements that are made on the floor of the House and in the Senate and the committee that are out and out lies. And I got to tell you, when I came in, there were no term limits. When I was a freshman, we served with long-term veterans. My seatmate was Art Hamilton. He had been there 22 years. There was a very strict protocol and respect for the institution of the House. And no matter what you're discussing, no matter who's making the discussion, you never ever disrespect the institution of the House and the institution of the legislature. And that means that if you're going to say anything on that floor, it better be factual regardless of what side you were on. And those rules were enforced bipartisanly. If you had anybody getting up and making outrageous statements, you could count on leadership from that party putting them down and putting them down quickly. Now, it's a free-for-all. Now it's free-for-all. Those types of institutional rules and institutional protocols that allowed the business of the state to actually happen are no longer there. The rules chipped away, simply looked at something that gets in the way. Procedure, the same way. It's been bastardized to no end. And when you chip away at the structure and the protocol, you eliminate the very structure that allows you to get work done. To get work done. And to me, that's the biggest, it's painful to watch You know, I get online and I'll watch a committee or I'll watch the floor. It is painful, and I had to turn it off. I can't stomach watching. It's so disrespectful to the institution, and it is it's simply been tarnished from every direction. So, you know, I would hope that as we move forward, that on the business side in particular, that there is a very high bar that is held for their elected officials that they support, and it works in both sides of the aisle. Both sides have to get into shape. And I would hope that there would be a higher standard of respecting the institution, speaking the truth, having an honest debate, doing within the realm of the rules, and respecting the process that worked so well for so long. That has to happen, and it's everyone's obligation to hold their elected officials to a higher standard. Now, in terms of how politics affects the Latino community, I got to tell you, you know, we have a term for Mr. Pierce in the Latino community. We call him the great unifier. He is the great unifier. We have never been able to unify the Latino community the way Russell Pierce has. Ever. We've never been able to do it. Now, I can sit in a room with Republican Latinos, and we can strategize and agree on just about everything. Just about everything. It's amazing. And on the Latino side, I got to tell you, it has resulted in national money coming in, C3 money coming in, C4 money coming in, 527 money coming in, registering Latinos at a huge pace, better than we've ever done, ever. And if you look at the Latino vote over the last 2 cycles, it has increased 60,000 Latino votes in Arizona. We have had the highest uptick in voter participation in our history. So if you want to know what the end result for us is, well, things are looking up. Things are looking up. And I got to tell you, during the last election on the Democratic side, the Latino vote was the only segment of the Democratic vote that actually took an upswing. Everyone else turned out lower than they did the cycle before. Not us, straight up. And you can count on that happening more and more and more, because this issue of immigration has unified our community like never, ever before. And nationally, this is seen as ground zero. This is the front line here. And national organizations are more than willing to do their fair share to pump money into this state to help organize and get the Latinos out to vote. So from my perspective, from a public policy point of view, what's happening is horrible. On the flip side, for the Latino community, it's doing us some good, and it's doing us unification, and it's getting our people out to vote like we never have before. 20,000 per cycle. Actually 30,000 per cycle. Okay? So we've seen an uptick of 60,000 in the last 2 cycles. That's pretty good to me. And that will continue to grow, and it will continue to grow. And every time we look at those numbers, and the national funders look at those numbers, they come back and they tell us, you know what? This is the biggest uptick in the United States of America in terms of Latino voting, and we are now prioritizing you even more. So thank you very much. We appreciate it.